to the Tuesday Night Touchdown Podcast with your hosts, Reese Downing and Jacob Workman.
What is up, everyone? Tuesday Night Touchdown Podcast, NCAA edition, week 1, finally. No more fake weeks like week 0. Joining, as always, on the other side of the world, Reese. Reese, what's going on?
What's going on, brother? How are you?
Well, it could be better. I think my team's 0-1 already, but it is what it is. We'll see how the season goes. Still a lot left, and thankfully we've got a different playoff this year, so there's still hope for the time being, at least. A couple special guests joining us. Anyone that watched last year has seen these guys before. A big Notre Dame game this weekend, so it was only the right thing to do to bring on our Irish faithful. So we've got Scott joining us. Scott, what's going on?
Evening.
And Carter. Carter, what's up?
What's up, fellas? Glad to be back on here. Excited for the season.
Yeah, I think the last time we saw you was draft night, if I remember right. So.
Yes, correct.
It was a fun night for Carter.
A lot has changed. Oh, yeah. I had a ball.
Yeah. It was an interesting night there.
Yeah.
All right, so just a little recap from last week. All of the underdogs covered last week. So in the 4 games, the underdogs were 4-0. With our picks, that put me at 1-3. My only win was New Mexico, and Reese had Georgia Tech in New Mexico. So Reese went 2-2. We did both miss our locks to start the season, unfortunately. If anyone was here with us for week 0 last year, it was a disaster. I think there were 7 games last year, and I think we both went like 1-6 and missed our locks then too.
Yeah, so, it wasn't good.
We're pretty good at hot starts here, but it got better through the season as the season went on. We actually ended up having a really good year last year. So we're going to cover some recaps. There were only 4 games. So Georgia Tech beat Florida State 24-21 in Dublin. It was kind of a sloppy game. It wasn't a very entertaining game. Not much offense, really. Georgia Tech decided to go wide with about every single play they had. They didn't really challenge us up the middle at all. There wasn't a lot of passing in the game from either team. It was just an unfortunate event. I mean, I talked about it last week. I hate that we were playing a conference game in a different country to start the year. Like, that's never something you want. And we got a brand new quarterback, unfortunately, and we lost 20 or 12 guys to the NFL last year, so that doesn't help either. So a lot of turnover. I think the guys will get going. I mean, Georgia Tech proved last year, we talked about it last week also, that, I mean, they played Georgia great at the end of the year last year, and Georgia was one of the better teams in college football. So it's not like this team is just some crap team. Georgia Tech's actually really good in what Brent Key's doing there. I think we're going to see quite a change in Georgia Tech. SMU, Nevada. SMU won 29-24 in a game they never should have won. Nevada, Jesus, you want to talk about blowing a game. They did it. A terrible dropped punt that led to a disaster. SMU was lucky to win that one, but they did win. New Mexico, Montana State. New Mexico I picked them on the money line. And again, it was another one that should have won. They were up huge late in the game and gave up 17 in the fourth quarter to a FBS team. Or FCS team. Hawaii on the late night. Hawaii beat Delaware State 35-14. Delaware State did finally get to Hawaii after flight delays and missed flights and everything else. And they managed to get the cover, though. It was a huge line. Just some additional news and notes as we go into this. So the NCAA has ruled a 1-game suspension for Oklahoma football assistant DeMarco Murray. Reese, you probably know that name well. He had impermissible contact with 17 prospects over 16 months. I still don't understand this when it comes to the NCAA. Like, who cares? Like, we've got to get past this. Some rumors that UConn is going to be joining the Big 12. There's been some ADs and presidents meet. Nothing's been official yet, but it is just some rumors that something that might be happening. Washington is named Mississippi State transfer Will Rogers its starting quarterback. Bud Light has released a limited edition college cans for 26 different schools, and I wanted this added just because I'm really hoping if anyone from California is listening to this, that third can is a Fresno State can. If anyone would be interested in buying that and shipping it my way, please DM me or leave a comment. I really want one of those. I think it's awesome. And it just kind of shows how far we've come in college football. Like, You used to never see alcohol. You used to see betting. You never used to see anything. And now that's the whole world of college sports. It's kind of crazy, the change. Oklahoma is adding an end of third quarter, beginning of fourth quarter sing-along to kind of honor Toby Keith and his death. You see it like LSU does, Colin Baton Rouge from Garth. The Gators do Tom Petty. I mean, you see it at tons of stadiums, Jump Around in Wisconsin. But Oklahoma is adding a tribute to Toby Keith. As Carter's on here, I thought this one was worth noting. Dabo Swinney is no longer going to be taking live callers on his radio show. If anyone remembers, he was the infamous pilot from Spartanburg last year. So it was a nice change to see that Dabo is no longer going to be accepting calls. Reese, what did you think of the start of the college football season in the infamous fake week 0?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a rough week for us. I thought Georgia Tech was going to keep it close, but I thought Florida State was going to win that one. That was a crazy ending. I think 40 yards on the ground for Florida State total after the first drive, and not going to win a lot of football games like that. SMU close game. New Mexico I thought was going to be able to pull it out, so kudos to Montana State for pulling it out. And the Miami game. The Hawaii game really kicked off in the second half. So the second half is a lot more fun to watch than the first. So, hope let's keep it moving. I'm okay with 500 in week 0 compared to what happened last year. So,
yeah, I know they saved us by it only being 4 games instead of 7. So we'll take that. Scott, do you have anything from week 0?
I think the Florida State really, with as much talent as they lost last year, that I can't say that was a big surprise, especially when you go to Dublin playing on a sloppy field. And who went to a Delaware State thinking that they're going to end up in Hawaii on an all-expense-paid trip. Kudos to them who got there from Delaware to Hawaii.
Carter, what are your thoughts on week 0?
I didn't get to watch a lot of them. I obviously watched the Florida State-Georgia Tech game. I loved what I saw of Georgia Tech. Brent Key might be my new favorite coach, former offensive lineman. That interview after the game was great. That's always a tricky game. Notre Dame's done it a few times in the past couple of years, going out to Ireland and the travel and all that. It's a lot to handle. And you guys started a bunch of new players at Florida State, new quarterback and all that. So I wouldn't say it was expected, but it was definitely a tougher test than what they thought.
Yeah, and that's just part of I still don't understand why they would ever agree to a conference game. Like, it's cool to go there and play LSU, go there and play Alabama, but why are we playing a conference game? Like, that's especially now when winning the conference gets you an auto bid. Like, I don't know. That's the one thing that I don't really like. Like, I don't care if we go international and play, but let's make the game a little less important. Like, that's a pretty important game to start the year.
Do they even control their conference schedule? That would be my one thing. I think the conferences now control that schedule.
That game was scheduled 2 years ago. It was announced that they were playing the Ireland game. So I guess with the change of the college football playoff format, it wouldn't have been known at that time, but it was. I mean, I guess there's some things you can't control in that aspect, but yeah, it. All right, so let's move on to our next one, which I believe is just going to go ahead and start getting into the games. There's so many of them that I think that's where we're at already. So we're going to kick it off. We have some Thursday games this week, Friday games, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I think we hit every day this week. So kicking it off, and we're going to apologize ahead of time. There are some very large lines this week, so be prepared. Western Carolina, the Catamounts are traveling to number 24, NC State. NC State is a 33.5-point favorite. It's going to be Thursday at 7 o'clock on the ACC network. First pick of the year. I guess not for you because we've done a week already, but Reese, what do you got for this one?
Yeah, NC State should be a relatively tough team this year, especially on defense. Plus, they've added in Grayson McCall. I think this should be an easy one for the Wolfpack, so I'm going to take NC State minus the points.
Scott, let's go to you.
I agree. NC State was an underrated team last year. 33 points is not good enough for this game.
And Carter?
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of points, but I like what Dave Duran's doing at NC State. We got Grayson McCall and snapping the ball to him is former Notre Dame center Zeke Correll. So I'll roll with him in the Wolfpack.
We got is this Beavis ND fan 1993? Is that Beavis, Carter?
Yeah.
I think it is. He's going with the Catamounts. He says we want the Catamounts. No, I'm kind of with you, Carter. I like Grayson McCall going to join NC State. I got NC State minus the 33.5. Moving along, Murray State traveling to number 11 Missouri, 46.5 point favorite. That one's going to be at 8 p.m. Thursday night on the SEC Network. Let's start with Carter.
Oh, man, 46.5. You're giving that many points to the Racers of Murray State. I guess I'll take the Racers and the points, but I really like this Missouri squad. Brady Cook and Luther Burden's going to cause problems all year long for people, but that's just so many points. So give me the points.
All right, let's go to Scott.
I got to agree. Missouri in the 46. They going to be a thorn in somebody's side all season long. They were in the another conference. They might make a little bit more noise, but they're in the SEC and they're going to get stomped several times this year.
All right, and Reese.
Yeah, I think the important thing on this one is last year in the opener, the Tigers had a 28-3 lead at halftime, and then Drinkwitz sat Cook the entire second half. So if they do a similar game script there, they won that game by 25. 46.5 is already a lot, so I'm taking more Murray State here plus the points as well.
Yeah, I'm on Murray State also. I think this is probably going to be like a 42-0 at halftime, and it's going to be a sweat for the second half. But I do like Missouri State or Murray State. That's just a ton of points. 46.5 is a lot.
Yeah.
Lindenwood, Lindenwood, actually. Who knows where this college is at? They are traveling to number 22, Kansas. Kansas is 44.5 point favorite, and this one's at 8 p.m. on ESPN Plus. A little unfortunate for Kansas. Like, of all the years to renovate your stadium, it's probably your best season. I mean, I guess when Mangino was there, they had the BCS season, but I still think this one's probably a more promising season. They're going to have 0 home games this year because of the stadium renovation, which is awful. But Kansas, 44.5 point favorite. Scott, what do you got?
Definitely Kansas. I never heard of Leonard Wood. The only saving grace that they have is Kansas starts their third and the fourth string by the end of or the second half. It's just going to be a rout from start to finish.
Carter?
The mighty Lindenwood Lions travel to Kansas, and they're going to get their ass beat. Lance Leopold and Jalen Daniels is going to blow the door off the Lions. Give me Kansas and all giving up all those points.
Beavis is informing us that they're from St. Louis, Missouri, so I guess they're actually kind of close.
Yeah, I was going to say they're not too far. They're about an hour and a half or so away from Columbia, but they're just outside of St. Louis, so not too far away. Cupcake start to the year for the Jayhawks, though. Good game for them to get settled into their new environment for the season, so I'm going to go with the Jayhawks as well.
Yeah, I'm on Kansas also for the 44.5. They're going to be playing a few games here and a lot of games at Arrowhead. I think once they get in the SEC play, they're all at Arrowhead. But yeah, I like Kansas in this one. I mean, Daniels finally, well, we should say hopefully finally healthy. We'll see if he can come back and have the huge season everyone expects him to have. Southern Utah's making the trek to number 12 Utah, 38.5 point favorite, and that one's going to be Thursday at 9 p.m. on ESPN Plus in Utah's debut Big 12 game. Let's go, Scott.
Utah generally isn't a really explosive team. They've got Cam Rising back again for what I believe is his 7th year.
700th. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, NIL is making it a good living for him. But 38 points just seems like a lot for a team that's not explosive, even as against Southern Utah. So give me Southern Utah on the points.
Carter?
Excited to see Cam Rising back. Hopefully he can stay healthy this year. I'll take Utah minus the 38.5. I know it's a bunch, but Cam's going to have to knock off some rust and maybe score some points this week.
And Reese?
Yep, I'm with you. It's going to be a long day for the Thunderbirds, so I'll take Utah minus the points.
Yeah, I'm Rice Eccles. Utah doesn't lose there, and I think we might see a shutout. So I think Utah can make this cover. I think they'll shut them out. Next, we got Temple. This one's going to be Friday night, actually. Friday night at 7. Temple's going on the road to Norman, Oklahoma to face the number 16 Sooners. Oklahoma's a 42.5-point favorite at 7 p.m. on ESPN. Reese, what do you got?
Oklahoma 6-0 in non-conference games under Venables. They've won those games by an average of roughly 39. Temple's 3-12 against the spread as a road underdog in the last 3 years. So I'm taking Oklahoma here to cover.
Carter.
And these spreads. Give me Jackson Dart and Oklahoma.
Jackson Arnold.
Him too.
Yeah. Oklahoma. Yeah, I'll take my mic might be breaking up. I don't know.
No, you're good. Scott.
I think Oklahoma has a chance of being one of the more underranked teams in the entire country this year. With that defense, I'm not sure Temple scores. Give me Oklahoma all the way.
Yeah, I've got Oklahoma getting the cover here too. It'll be interesting to see what happens once they get into conference play. I'm a little more interested in Oklahoma once SEC play starts. But yeah, Temple is not going to be good. I think this one's going to be pretty ugly. So finally, we're going to talk about a pretty large game, one of the bigger games of the weekend. Number 14 Clemson is going to be facing number 1 Georgia in Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia, home of the Falcons. Georgia is a 13.5-point favorite. This game is Saturday at noon on ABC. Let's go, Scott.
I hate the Mercedes-Benz open your season. I mean, Death Valley or playing at Georgia, what a game that would be. The environment, fans, this is just for TV ratings where they're doing it at. Clemson has more talent than what their record showed last year. Give me Clemson in the points.
Carter.
Finally, a really good game on this slate I'm excited for. I think this is a huge year for Dabo and Clemson. I'm sad that he won't be able to talk to Tyler from Spartansburg. That's kind of sad. He's not going to want to hear it after Georgia beats him by 3 touchdowns.
3 touchdowns. I like it. Reese.
Yeah, I think we're about to find out why Dabo sitting on his hands in the offseason wasn't the best idea. I'm taking Georgia.
Yeah, I'm on Georgia also. If it was 14, that's where I would have a little bit more doubt. But since it's 13.5, which obviously that's what Vegas is trying to do, but that's I like Georgia with the 13.5. Another big one at noon. Number 8, Penn State is going on the road to Morgantown to face West Virginia. This is at noon on Fox. Penn State is going on the road as an 8.5-point favorite. Reese.
Yeah, West Virginia finished the season hot last year. Garrett Green's one of the better dual threats in the country. Penn State won this game by 23 last year. They screwed me. I was a lot more confident in them last year than what they ended up performing, which seems to be historical for Penn State. But I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to take the Nittany Lions here minus the 8.5.
Scott.
Actually, I like West Virginia to with the points. Penn State and an anemic offense with a new offensive coordinator, trying to create chunk plays, get anything going in the first game of the season, always tough. Check back with me by the mid of the season. They might have it going on, but start the season, West Virginia in the points.
And Carter.
Give me the home team getting points. It looks like there's going to be some weather there. Might be some rain. I like Garrett Green, the dual threat. Penn State, I don't know, other than the running backs, if they've given Drew Aller enough weapons. This game last year, I think it was 14-7 going into the 4th. West Virginia played them really tough. Penn State probably gets the W, but give me the 8.5 in West Virginia.
Yeah, I remember Penn State covered on a 8-second left unnecessary touchdown. I remember Franklin ran it in to get the cover at the end. Reese, have you gone on this one?
Yep.
Yes, you started. It's to me. I've got West Virginia. I just like them at home. We talked last year a lot about this team. I'm not big on Drew Aller at all. And now, was it the fact that play calling never gave him a chance, or was it just that he's not good? I guess we'll find out soon. But I like Garrett Green and the Mountaineers at home. Illinois State is going to be traveling to Iowa City to face the Iowa Hawkeyes Saturday at noon on the Big Ten Network. Iowa is coming in as a 22.5-point favorite. Let's go, Carter.
What do I have here? I'm going to take Iowa. I know last year they probably barely ever scored 22.5 points, but they got a new quarterback, Cade McNamara, new offensive coordinator, and Illinois State probably isn't going to score a point. So if they can get to 24, they'll cover this one.
Got a comment here that someone actually thinks Drew Aller can win the Heisman. That's interesting. It's an interesting thought, but we'll see. You never know. I'm sure there's good odds on that out there. Scott, what do you got?
Iowa probably is going to shut out Illinois. The early reviews of the transfer quarterback for Iowa have not been good. So I'm going to go with the punting as offense team, but I go with the under total points, and I don't think they'll cover.
All right, Reese.
Yeah, it's not Mr. Water Polo anymore, so I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt for week 1 anyway. I'll take Iowa here.
Yeah, I can't do it. I think the loss of Mr. Water Polo is too large. No, I'm just kidding. But I am on Illinois State, though. I don't know when Iowa's beaten anyone by 23 points. So I'm sticking with Illinois State here just in giving it a shot. Chattanooga is going to be going to Neyland Stadium to face the number 15 ranked Tennessee Volunteers. Tennessee's a 38.5-point favorite. This game is at 12:45 Eastern on the SEC network. That's a great start time. Let's go to Scott. What do you got for Tennessee?
Tennessee, I think with the new quarterback that I can't pronounce his name.
You ready for this? Iamaleava.
Nice job. Nice.
Iamaleava.
I will try again, just not on air. I really think Tennessee's going to be very explosive. He's great things coming out of Tennessee. They've got a great offense. It's the defense that has let them down, especially going to Neyland Stadium. This place going to be rocking first game of the season. Tennessee all the way.
Carter.
Yeah, I'm with Scott. Tennessee and Mr. Nico, Iamaleava or whatever. They're going to roll. Josh Heupel's got a lot of weapons there. Squirrel White, Brew McCoy. I think it's just going to be too much to handle in Neyland Stadium.
Reese.
Yeah, I'll take Rocky Top and the Squirrel minus the points.
Yeah, I'm on Tennessee as well. Like the over/under is only 56.5. I think Tennessee might score 56.5. And for one last time, we'll give one last one. It's Nico Iamaleava. That's how you pronounce his name. Just so you guys.
Okay, I got it.
Okay. Well, next week I expect it. All right. So this one's actually. To me, we've talked about this game all off season. It's kind of one of the Big 12 preview. We were pretty big on this one. So South Dakota State is going on the road to number 17, Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State is a 9.5-point favorite, 2 p.m. And why this game is on ESPN Plus, this is a real TV game. This is kind of a disaster to me. But Oklahoma State minus 9.5 favorite. Let's go, Carter.
Since my number 1 draft pick in fantasy football is on this team, Mr. Ollie Gordon, I'm going to roll with Oklahoma State here. But I think any of these Dakota teams are tough, and it'll be a good one for Gundy. Hopefully, they can win by 2 touchdowns.
Reese.
Yeah, I'm with Carter here. I'm taking Team Gundy minus the points.
Scott.
I'm saying I love the Dakota teams for their league, but this is a step or 3 above Oklahoma State all the way.
Yeah, and this goes back to what we've talked about all offseason with Ole Miss and Oklahoma State. This is the year they cannot shit the bed. This is a potential shit the bed game. So this is I'll be heavily in. This is I'm probably more excited to watch this game than 90% of the games this weekend. But like we've said, Oklahoma State, they brought back so many guys that should be able to get them over the hump in this one. So I like Oklahoma State to cover the 9.5 also. On the complete opposite end of the spectrum, we've got Akron going on the road to number 2 Ohio State in a 49.5-point favorite, 3:30 on CBS from the shoe. Carter, what do you got?
Just looking at the spread with the over/under, it's
basically a shutout.
9 points away from So I imagine it will be a shutout, but I don't know that Ohio State will get to 50. They got a new quarterback, new offensive coordinator. And I don't know if they'll need to play their starters into the third quarter. So I'll take Akron in the points.
How many defensive points do we get in this game? That might be the question.
Yeah, that could put it over the top for sure.
Scott.
Ohio State comes out second half, rests all their starters. Obviously, the second, third, fourth string don't play nearly as well or as sharp. Give me Akron in the points. And I don't think they're going to hit the over-under just because they're going to be playing so many backups by quarter number 3.
Reese.
Ryan Day teams have scored over 200 and have only given up roughly 33 against MAC teams. I think this team has a tremendous amount of depth, so I'm not concerned about the points here. I'm going to take Ohio State to cover.
Yeah, when I was looking at it originally, I was like 49.5, no way. But I'm almost like, how do I pick against it? Like, I just think they're so loaded, and Chip Kelly's debut as OC, I feel like they want to really show something here, and I think they just put it on them. I do think they cover the 49.5. This is, for real life betting purposes, this is probably going to be a first half bet for me. I'm guessing first half line's probably going to be like 33, and I'll take Ohio State in the first half minus 33 all day. So I like it a lot, but I don't know. I just don't see how Akron can even do anything in this game. Colorado State is going to be going to Austin, Texas to face number 4 Texas, 32.5 point favorite, and this game is at 3:30 on ESPN. Texas's first game in the SEC. Reese, what do you got for this one?
Yeah, Texas turned a little bit into a question mark with some of those injuries at running back. They didn't cover any 30-plus lines last year. Colorado was 3-1 against the spread, but I think Texas knows this is a warm-up game for next week, so I'm going to take the Longhorns here minus the points.
Scott?
I'm definitely at Texas minus points. Like Reese said, it's a warm-up game, and I think they're going to play it as that, and they're going to really try to be sharp all game long, try to get a little depth and a little experience into it. But I think they're going to put the hammer down.
And Carter.
Yeah, I'm with the guys. Texas rolls here. I mean, I know they got the big game on deck next week, but I think they're going to win at least by 35, I'd imagine. So 32.5 is just not enough.
Yeah, I like Texas in this one too. I'm a little interested in the running back depth now that they lost their first and second string running backs, but I don't think it's really going to matter in this game. But I think next week that might be more of a factor. And the game I'm least interested in this week, number 19 Miami is a 2.5 point favorite as they travel to Gainesville to face the Gators. 3:30 on ABC. Let's go with Carter.
Critical year for Billy Napier and the Gators. This is third year. It's make or break it. I love that we have a rivalry game week 1 here. I'm going to go with the upset, and Graham Mertz in Florida are going to beat Cam Ward in Miami at home.
Scott?
Surprising I got to go with the Notre Dame guy. He's speaking some truth today. I really think Florida's going to upset Miami. Billy Napier, he's playing for his job. He's playing. His coach is playing for their jobs as well. So, I think it's going to be Florida the upset, and going to really spark some interesting hate in Miami.
Reese.
I think this is the basically the first and last game for the Gators. I'm taking Miami here minus the points.
So I think this one's like a loser leaves town professional wrestling match. Like, I think whatever team loses this, the head coach should just be fired immediately because that's how their season's going to go. I have a feeling. I don't have them winning many games this year, but I've got them winning this one. I'll take the Gators at home to beat Miami. Western Kentucky is going to be traveling to Tuscaloosa to face number 5 Alabama. Alabama is a 31.5 point favorite. This game is going to be Saturday night at 7 p.m. on ESPN. It'll be the debut of Kalen DeBoer as head coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Let's go Reese.
Excited to see DeBoer and Millero together. Tides won the last 3 by an average of 32. DeBoer squads love putting points up on the board. I'm a little confused as to why the over-under is 59.5 and Bama's only on here for 31.5. I'm Bama all day. This is one of the locks of the week, in my opinion.
Let's go Scott.
Yeah, I don't think Alabama's only going to win this by 18. It's a Bama all day warm up. Get in, get out. Yeah, it's not wanting to be close. Western Kentucky's just going to bring the bus and get out of there, limp out of there.
Carter.
Yeah, Kalen DeBoer is going to pick up right where Saban left off, and maybe even more potent offensively. Excited to see what he does with Milroe, and yeah, this is a lock for Alabama, I believe.
Yeah, I'm on Bama also. I cannot wait to watch what Kalen DeBoer does with Jalen Milroe. I think that's going to be one of the more fun things to watch this season. I think the reason we got the over-under a little high is Western Kentucky does typically have a very good offense. I don't know what they bring back from last year, but typically they are one of the more high-powered passing offenses in college football. And with Alabama losing a lot of guys in the secondary to the transfer portal, I guess it's probably the little question mark there. So that's why it's bumped up. But to me, I think Bama tries to put on a show here. Like, I think they might score 45 themselves. So I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Hopefully the Hilltoppers bring back those badass jerseys from last year.
Oh, they have the helmets and stuff coming back. Those are awesome. That is one cool thing that they did. Furman is going to be going on the road to Oxford to face number 6 Ole Miss. Ole Miss is a 42.5-point favorite. This one is going to be Saturday night at 7 p.m. on ESPN+. Carter, what do you think this year of Lane Kiffin's team?
I think Lane Kiffin's got everything he needs down there at Ole Miss and Oxford to go on a real run this year, and it starts by pounding Furman. 42.5 is not enough. It's a lot, but not enough for week 1.
Scott.
I'm on board with that. Ole Miss, they look fantastic. What can they? We all know what Lane Kiffin do with their offense. Will the defense hold up through an SEC schedule? The to be determined. But Furman, just warming them up.
Reese.
Yep, this is my SEC championship pick for the year. So starts here. I'm taking Ole Miss minus the points.
Yeah, I don't think we have too much to worry about in this one when it comes to winning the game. Covering 42.5 is quite a bit, but again, I think we saw what they brought in the portal. They brought in the world. I think their defense should be Furman. I don't know. I don't see them scoring much. And Ole Miss, I see Lane wanting to score the world. So I do like 42.5, even though it's high. I do like Lane to get the cover there. UT Martin's going to be traveling to the Little Apple, Manhattan, Kansas, to face number 18 Kansas State. Kansas State's 37.5-point favorite. This one is going to be 7 p.m. on ESPN+. Let's go, Reese.
Yeah, similar to the previous one. Kansas State's my pick for the Big 12, so I'm taking Kansas State here minus the points.
Scott?
Kansas State, they've got a real possibility for this year. I think they want to kind of have a statement game, even if it is against UT Martin. 37.5, not enough. It's going to be a bloodbath.
Carter?
Yep, Avery Johnson and the boys are going to run it up against UT Martin. Give me Kansas State minus 37.5.
Yeah, it'll be nice to see Avery as the full-time quarterback this year and see what goes on there. But yeah, I think Kansas State should easily be able to handle this one at home. Idaho is going on the road to Eugene to face the number 3 Oregon Ducks. Oregon's a 44.5-point favorite. Saturday at 7:30 p.m. And get this, the Big Ten Network. We're actually going to be able to find Oregon games this year. They're not on the Pac-12 Network anymore, thank God, because no one could ever watch those games. It is very odd to see Big Ten Network when it comes to this. But Oregon, 44.5-point favorite. Scott, what do you got?
Well, you might be able to find Oregon this year, but I don't know really who wants to watch this game. Oregon plus 44.5. That just going away.
Carter.
Man, these spreads are crazy. 44.5. Yeah, I don't think it's enough. I think Oregon rolls. I'm sure they'll score 50 points, and Idaho will be lucky to get a touchdown.
Reese?
Ducks by 1 million.
Yeah, I can't wait to see Dylan Gabriel in this offense just to see. I mean, all Bo Nix had to do was throw the ball 3 yards, and that's kind of what Dylan Gabriel is going to be doing also. Kind of the same situation, running and throwing the ball less than 5 yards through the air. So I'm kind of big on Oregon this one too. I don't think Idaho is going to have anything for this. All right, before we get into this game, I'm going to throw a little preview in. I got something I need you guys to watch before we start talking about kind of our key game of the night.
Now let's go ahead and do that yell together. Pass it back, Ags. Hump it, Ags. 1, 2, 3. ARMYTAMC. Hey! Oh, Army, fight! Hey, 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 hey!
If that doesn't pump you up for the game, I don't know what will. How can you guys not just be jacked out of your mind, ready for the game Saturday night after watching that? So
I won't ever be able to get that on my head.
Oh, that's perfect. Midnight Yell. Make sure you watch on YouTube Friday night, Saturday morning. It's must-see television.
Yeah, try clipping that video for Workman late night. You hear that enough times.
Number 7, Notre Dame traveling to Kyle Field in College Station to face number 20, Texas A&M. Texas A&M is a 2.5-point favorite, 7:30 p.m. on ABC. Before we get to them, Reese, let's get your pick. Reese, what you got in this one?
Oh, man, I went back and forth on this one in the Group of 5 show. It's still a struggle for me. Freeman's been a little lackluster against ranked opponents, particularly on the road, but Notre Dame's defense, I think, has an advantage here. If Riley Leonard can keep turnovers to a minimum, I think that's the answer. It's going to be a close game, but I'm going to take Notre Dame here plus the 2.5.
Yeah, so you got Elko facing his former quarterback and Riley Leonard. Obviously, Elko used to coach at Notre Dame. I hate to do this to the guys, but if you watched the SEC episode, I talked about A&M. I'm taking A&M to cover and win. I like A&M in this game at home. Scott?
Well, I think A&M is going to be a lot better at the end of the season than they are at the beginning of the season. Look out, SEC. They just might squeak into that SEC championship game. Looking at Notre Dame, that's where I spend a lot of my efforts. The freshmen and the redshirt freshmen on the line, they're talking that they're more athletic and just nasty as a replacement. So we're looking better on the offensive line than what we expected. My biggest issue is Riley Leonard going to be accurate on his passing. Watching his games last year, some days he was great. Other days, hard to hit the ocean from the beach. So if he comes out and he's does some good runs, the more athletic in that defense, top 3 in the nation, I think it's going to be a close game, but Notre Dame's going to pull it out at the end.
So you have Notre Dame winning the game outright?
I just have Notre Dame straight up.
Okay. And Carter?
Yeah, this isn't the most ideal starting game, traveling to Kyle Field in front of 100,000 crazy folks like you just shared a little bit ago in the video. But I think this spread, to me, I think it should be flipped the other way. I think Notre Dame should be favored. Obviously, I'm a homer, but if you just look at it, this is the third year of Freeman's system. This is Elko's first year. This is the third year in Al Golden's defense. They're starting 7 fifth-year seniors on that defense, and this is the deepest I've seen Notre Dame's defense. They're talking about rolling out 10 different defensive linemen. Offensively, the big question is the offensive line. We lost 2 true junior tackles to the draft, and they're replacing them with some youngsters. But I trust Mike Denbrock to help them out, get the RPOs going, screens, and get the running game going with Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price. I think they have way more weapons than you've seen Notre Dame have for a while. They actually have 6 legit receivers, a couple transfers, Chris Mitchell, Bo Collins, and then a couple youngsters that you saw last year, Great House and Faison. Mitchell Evans is healthy and going to be back. I just think that Elko is going to be good for this team, but I think game 1, Notre Dame, if they are truly a playoff team like I think they are, they go in here and take care of business. So I got Notre Dame winning.
All right. Moving on. So we've got Fresno State going on the road to Ann Arbor, Michigan to face number 9 Michigan Wolverines. Michigan's a 21.5-point favorite. Saturday night at 7:30 on NBC. Unfortunately, I had a lot of hopes for this game when it was announced, and now that Tedford's gone, I've kind of lost a little bit of the hope I was having for Fresno in this one, because Fresno is one of those teams you just never doubt, but just because of all the situations they've gone through, and it's on the road, and Michigan's being investigated. So, I mean, all the signs are kind of pointing that Michigan's just going to come out to put on a performance. So I'm taking Michigan minus the 21.5. Reese?
Yeah, I'm with you. I've got Michigan covering.
Scott?
Michigan lost so much talent last year to the draft. They're replacing. They've got distractions galore. New head coach, Tedford. He went health reasons. I believe that was the reason. But his influence is still there. It's not like that he left the team for a new team, sick, disciplinary reasons. I think in spirit he's there. They don't have the distractions. I just think 21.5 for a Michigan team trying to replace all that on the team is a big hurdle to overcome. I think Fresno State can keep it respectable, so I'm going to take them in the points.
Well, I appreciate someone still picking Fresno to keep them alive, because they're a team I bet on every week for about the last 8 years. So I have a lot of faith. This is the first time that offense hasn't had Tedford, Grubb, or DeBoer in a long time, though. So I'm really interested to see what happens. And Mikey Keane's coming back. And they lost their star running back to the NFL, Jordan Mims. So there's a lot of things going on with Fresno. We'll see if Mikey can stay healthy this year. Carter, what do you got in this one?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Michigan. It's close. I could see Fresno State keeping this a close game because there's so many questions at Michigan with all the turnover, new quarterback, new coach. Harbaugh's not there. But being at home, first game of the year, go ahead and give me Michigan minus 21.5.
New Mexico is going on the road to face number 21 Arizona. Arizona is a 38.5 point favorite. This game's going to be Saturday night at 10:30 p.m. on ESPN. And Brent Brennan did announce that McMillan is going to be playing. He is healthy enough and cleared to play, which is huge for Noah Fafita. Let's start with Carter.
Let's see. Yeah, Noah Fafita in Arizona, minus 30.5. Give me the Wildcats. They were rolling at the end of last year, and I think they're going to keep it going this year.
Scott?
I really like Arizona. I don't know how much they can keep rolling from last year, but I really liked how they finished. New Mexico, well, it's just New Mexico. They've been historically bad for so long. Let's go Arizona and see where their season takes them.
Reese?
Yep, Zona was 11-2 last year against the spread. I think they're going to be a dangerous team again, so I'll take the Wildcats here minus the points.
Yeah, I like Arizona in this one, but I mean, New Mexico with Mendenhall last week, I mean, they showed quite a bit of change from what they've been over the last few years. Much different style of team. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if New Mexico does cover this, but I'm going to go with Arizona. It's actually probably one of my least favorite picks of the week, though. Big neutral site game to close out the night. Number 23 USC is be facing number 13 LSU. LSU is a 4.5 point favorite. This game's at Allegiant Stadium in Vegas, Sunday at 7:30 p.m. on ABC. Let's go, Reese.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this game. I'm particularly interested to see how this defense on USC is going to look with Danton Lynn in here, because he had UCLA's defense looking pretty good in the Pac-12 last year. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game, but I think late LSU gets a touchdown to close it out. So I'll take LSU minus the points.
Scott?
I'm really worried about LSU and Nesselmeyer with its turnovers. I think that could really bite them. USC bringing in the new coach. Can he make that much of a difference? How much talent did they have or didn't have? That's still up in the air. But I believe in their offense, their quarterback. You look at what he did in the bowl game, just blew it out of the water. I got faith that they found their next number one round draft pick at quarterback. So I'm going USC to straight up win.
Carter?
Yeah, I like that we get this Sunday night standalone game. Makes after all the games Saturday, then we get two more, one on Sunday and Monday. I always like that. These are two teams that I love to hate, especially since Brian Kelly got down to Baton Rouge. Both these quarterbacks, I think, are going to be pretty tough. And I'm looking at this over-under. If that drops anything, I'm going to hit the over, because I think it's going to be a lot of points. Both the defenses kind of have question marks. Lincoln Riley always has a quarterback, so I think he'll get Miller Moss rolling. They got a lot of weapons. I think I'm going to go USC with the upset. I don't know if they'll win outright, but they'll keep it within a field goal.
Yeah, I'm actually going LSU minus the 4.5 here. I need to see proof that USC's defense can do anything. They still haven't shown it. I do like Miller Moss, but I think LSU I think is going to be still the more overall fundamentally sound ready team. And in week 1, I think that's what I look for. So I do think LSU will get the win in the cover here. So let's go Monday night now, Labor Day night. Boston College and Bill O'Brien are going to be traveling to Doak Campbell Stadium to face there is no new poll this week, so we get the honorary number 10 spot this week as to be for one last week. Florida State's a 15.5-point favorite. It is Monday night at 7:30 p.m. on ESPN. Let's go, Carter.
So initially this spread was 17.5, and I was really thinking about taking Boston College and those points. And then I got to looking into Boston College more and realized that Bill O'Brien's their coach, and I think he's terrible. Florida State coming back from Ireland. I'm glad they're playing on Monday. They get a couple extra days rest. That should help them, and they should come out angry after what happened in Georgia Tech. So go ahead and give me the Seminoles minus 15.5.
Scott?
Yeah, I can't argue with anything he said there. Bill O'Brien basically went to Boston because he didn't have to move. Florida State should be angry. That those linebackers, basically whoever plays, they basically got one more shot this week. They don't play better this week than they did last week. It's time to start looking at your depth chart for linebackers. But I just think the talent level is so different. Florida State in the 15.
Reese?
Yeah, I think we're going to look back on this at the end of the year and realize that Georgia Tech is a better football team than what a lot of people thought. I don't think that last second field goal loss is going to be as shocking at the end of the year as it was this at this point in time. I don't see Florida State losing this game, and I don't see them not covering. So I'm going to take the Noles here minus the 15.5.
Well, I mean, I'm going to be honest here. I was kind of outspoken through the whole offseason. I was not big on DJ. I wanted Cam Ward. It was obvious. I will not blame DJ at all for us losing that game last week. It wasn't his fault. I think there was terrible play calling. We were way too conservative. I don't even know if we threw the ball more than 20 yards in the air one time. It was terrible play calling. And then we go for it twice on fourth down and last drive of the game, and DJ makes huge passes to lead us into a game-tying touchdown. He showed his arm strength is ridiculous. He showed what he can do. I think we've got to put him in a little better situations. This isn't the red bandana game, and we're not in BC, thank God, like we always are every other year. Last year, they gave us one hell of a game and almost beat us in BC. The quarterback had 400 total yards. It was absurd, but we came out with the win. I am interested to see what Bill O'Brien does with BC. This game's going to tell a lot. I'm taking the Noles minus 15.5, but next week we're going to know a lot about this team. So that is going to wrap up our top 25 picks for the week. For the first time this year, because we couldn't do it last week, we have the Muncie six-pack. We're kicking it off with a very, very fun one. North Dakota State on Thursday night is traveling to Boulder to Folsom Field to face Colorado. Colorado's a 9.5-point favorite, 8 p.m. ESPN. Reese, kick us off with your man Dion getting pissed at Paul Feinbaum.
Yeah, I don't have much to say about this game. Just give me Team Prime minus the points. I think they're going to get this one done in week 1.
Scott?
It's easy to hate Feinbaum, but I think Colorado's just brought in too much talent, and they're going to walk away with this one.
Carter?
Like I mentioned earlier, those Dakota teams, North Dakota State and South Dakota, they're both usually really good, strong programs. I think Colorado's just way more talented. They shored up both their lines a little bit in the portal in the offseason, and I think 9.5 is just not enough. So give me Buffaloes.
Yeah, this might come back to really kick us all in the ass. I'm actually taking Colorado also at -9.5. I just think it's just too low. And it's for exactly what you just said. I think they made some good offensive and defensive line changes in the offseason, and that's my main thing. I don't care about Shador. I do not think he's that good. Travis Hunter obviously is good, but he's also going to get abused all year. I mean, he did last year also, but yet he's still the world's greatest player for some reason. And with Dion already being distracted by the media, kicking reporters out, telling them they're banned from asking questions, clearly he's not that focused. So this team is what it is. They're not going to be good. I think their win total was 5.5 or something crazy. Again, it's very low. They're not going to have a winning season. But I do think they will get one here. But this will be one of the few on the season. North Carolina, 1.5-point favorite. We have very few road favorites this week, but this is one of them. North Carolina, 1.5-point favorite is going to Minneapolis to face the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Thursday night at 8 p.m. on Fox. So we got two games on Thursday night at the exact same time here. Reese, you rowing the boat? What's up?
I actually, Coach Saban's first pick on game day was this game, and he went with the Tar Heels. So I'm going to go with Coach Saban. I'll take North Carolina minus the 1.5.
All right. Scott?
Looking at the over-under and the points, it will be close, but doesn't look like it's going to be a very exciting, grinded-out kind of game. I'll go with Saban as well. Give me North Carolina.
Carter?
Yep. This should be a pretty good game. I'm not too familiar with either of these teams, but give me PJ Fleck and this whole offseason to get ready for North Carolina, and I'm going to row the boat. Go for
Hell yeah.
home.
Hand me an oar because we're going together. I'm with you. I got Minnesota winning this game outright. I like PJ Fleck at home. Minnesota last year was one of the few teams that actually shut down Amarian Cooper, the star running back from North Carolina. And if it wasn't for Drake May going just absolutely nuts, Minnesota would have beat them last year in Carolina. So I do like Minnesota to win this one at home outright. Western Michigan is going on the road to Camp Randall Stadium to face the Wisconsin Badgers. Wisconsin's a 24.5-point favorite. This one is Friday night at 9 p.m. on the Big Ten Network. Carter, do you think that the Miami sensation is going to lead the dairy raid this year and make some changes there?
Yeah, I like Wisconsin this year. I think 24.5 is not enough. I know Western Michigan's a pretty tough MAC team, but being at home in Wisconsin, they should be able to get it done. Give me the Badgers.
Yeah, so I'm actually on Western Michigan. I like you just said, they're one of the better teams in the MAC, and I still haven't – nothing's been proven to me from Fickle and what he can do at Wisconsin, and I think Tyler Van Dyke sucks. So I don't see them being able to do much through the air on this team either. So I'm actually on Western Michigan to get the cover in week one. Reese, what do you got?
Yeah, this is a little bit of a tough one for me, especially because this is a Friday night game. Those always have a little bit of a extra juice to it. I'll go with Dairy Raid to cover here.
Tyler Van Dyke. Scott, what do you got?
This is second year in Fickle's offense. I think they're going to be a lot better. They've really upgraded their talent acquisition, and I like Western Michigan. I love watching those MAC games at the back in the 80s and 90s, cool afternoon. But I just don't think they're going to be competitive this year against Wisconsin. So Wisconsin in the 24.
UTEP traveling to Lincoln, Nebraska to face the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Nebraska's a 27.5-point favorite. Saturday at 3:30 p.m. on Fox. Carter, we've got the debut of Dylan Raiola. What do we got here for Matt Rule and the Cornhuskers this year?
Definitely excited to see what Rule and Nebraska does this year with mini Patrick Mahomes, Dylan Raiola. This being his first start, I think that I'll take UTEP getting 27.5. I think it's a lot of points for this team. They're still kind of unproven, and we'll prove it this year and see how Rule does down the road.
Scott?
Carter's taking some of the steam out of my sails here. I think Nebraska at the end of the season is going to be a lot better team than they are at the start with brand new everything. UTEP in the points.
Should have picked Minnesota, then you'd have an oar. Reese.
I'll take Mini Mahomes here. Minus the 27.5.
I'm highly offended by these nicknames. I would like you guys to know that this Dylan Raiola's godfather is the one and only Matthew Stafford. So let's quit the Mini Mahomes crap. This is Mini Matthew Stafford. I'm taking Nebraska minus 27.5. I think it's a statement game. I think Rule's out to prove that Nebraska is going to be a serious contender this year. And I actually like Nebraska a lot this year. I'm on them to get the cover in week 1. UNLV is going on the road to TD-ECU Stadium. We're going to guess this is the Texas Department of Education Credit Union Stadium. That's got to be something close to that. Houston's a 2.5-point favorite. What are you laughing at? Let's go, Reese.
I was looking up what TD-ECU stands for. It's Texas Dow Employees Credit Union. So you weren't too far off.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
I'm taking Houston here to win and cover.
Scott.
How upset would you be for that to be your credit union doing naming rights for a stadium? There's I don't know much about either one of these teams, so let's just go with Houston and the points.
Carter.
Yep, I'm with Scott. Give me the home team minus 2.5.
So UNLV came back to life last year. They were pretty much the shithole of the Mountain West for the last few years until last year. Great season last year, brought it back to life, had a really good year. Houston, obviously Tulane, Willie Fritz heading over there. I think Houston is going to be good. We talked about this on the Big 12 show. I think give him a couple years and this team's going to be really good once he starts recruiting that area. This is going to be a really tough game to start the season. I think it's going to be a really fun game to watch, but I'm on Houston minus the 2.5. UCLA, 14.5-point favorite, traveling to the island to the Clarence T.C. Ching Athletics Complex in Honolulu, Hawaii to face Hawaii. This one is going to be Saturday night at 7:30 on CBS, one of the oddest CBS games of all time. You can tell this is the Big Ten time slot, and how this game is a 7:30 on CBS, this might blow people's minds when they turn this on Saturday and be like, what the hell is this? When we're used to seeing Alabama, LSU, or something in this time slot. So let's go Carter to start this one off.
Yeah, that is really weird. A 7:30 CBS game with the new Big Ten, UCLA, and
Big Ten,
the Rainbow Warriors. What is going on here? Hawaii actually got a game in last week, looked pretty good, put up some points. But that's not that big of a travel for UCLA to Hawaii. I don't think it'll be a problem. So I'll go ahead and take UCLA minus 14.5.
Scott?
I'm back and forth on the points on this one. You're going to Hawaii, even though you are UCLA and spending all your time in LA. I don't think it'll be quite the culture as some of these other Delaware State going to Hawaii. So UCLA and the 14.5.
Reese?
Same. I'm taking the Bruins here minus points.
I am on Hawaii to get the cover in this one. I like them at home on the island, and I think they're a much better team. I think Hawaii's improved greatly over the last few years, and UCLA has done nothing but go downhill. Whole new coaching staff. One of the worst introductory press conferences on Big Ten Media Day I've ever heard in my life by Deshaun Foster. If you guys haven't seen that, I would go check it out. It's kind of baffling that he got a head coaching job if that's what he does as an interview. But I like Hawaii to get the cover in this one. Our final game of the Muncie six-pack, we got Wyoming traveling to Arizona State. Arizona State's a 6.5-point favorite. Mountain America Stadium, it's a hell of a name. Saturday at 10:30 p.m. on the One for Fun, Fox Sports 1. Let's go, Carter.
Arizona State being at home, go ahead and give me Arizona State. It looks like they got a ton of transfers. I was just looking through their roster on both sides of the ball. It looks like they've just kind of revamped the whole roster. So them being at home, not knowing much about Wyoming, give me Arizona State.
Scott?
Has Wyoming had a pulse since Josh Allen was there?
They're not bad at home. With it being a road game, that's the bad part.
Yeah, I love the state of Wyoming, but I don't think they're going to beat, like I said, Arizona and their transfers. I think that they were starting to look up last year. It's a low over/under, but I think Arizona, they're 6.5.
Reese?
Yeah, Wyoming's lost 17 of the last 18 as road underdogs. This is only a touchdown to cover, so I'm taking Arizona State.
Yeah, and anyone that listens knows I love Kenny Dillingham, the head coach at Arizona State. I think this might be, though, we might get a new hashtag going this week since we no longer have Pac-12 after dark. I think we might get Big 12 after dark because I think this is going to be a great game, and I think some crazy shit's going to happen, but I do like Arizona State to get the cover, to cover the 6.5. All right. So we're going to finish it out with our locks of the week. Scott, give us your lock of the week.
Oh, yeah, I had that up just a second ago. Let's see. My lock of the week is the West Virginia plus points against Penn State.
Carter, what is your lock of the week?
Being at the first game of the year and not really knowing much about any of these teams, I seem to know a lot about Notre Dame. I think they're more proven. They got playmakers all up and down the defense, all at every level. They actually finally have an offensive coordinator in Denbrock with some weapons to work with. So I'm sticking with Notre Dame as my lock.
Reese, lock of the week.
I am going with Oregon over Idaho. It's 44.5 point, big spread, but I think this Oregon offense is going to look better this year than last year and spells troubles for the Vandals. So lock me in on the Ducks.
And my lock of the week, we are going with Alabama minus 31.5 at home against Western Kentucky. Like I said, I love the debut of Kalen DeBoer with Jalen Milroe. I am very excited to see what this offense does, and I think it's going to be kind of a statement that we're going to be just fine without Nick Saban in Tuscaloosa. So give me Alabama minus 31.5. All right, one new thing we're doing this year, we are going to give a money line pick for an underdog to just win outright this year. Scott, what team is your underdog pick of the week?
USC over LSU.
All right, USC beating LSU outright in Allegiant Stadium. Carter, what is your underdog pick of the week?
That's one I thought of, Scott, but I'm going with Florida at home in the Swamp. Give me the Gators and Billy Napier.
So Florida plus 126 to win at home against Miami as an underdog. My underdog pick of the week, Hawaii plus 390 to beat UCLA. We just talked about this game a minute ago. I love Hawaii at home this week. I think they can easily come out and get the outright win in this one. Reese, I think we might have a surprise here for your underdog pick of the week. What we got?
Yeah, we talked a ton about this game. We've talked a lot about it over the past couple episodes. I've got my boys on the show here. I'm locking in on Notre Dame. Underdog of the week. Winning this game outright, plus 116. With the best mascots that money can buy right here.
Reese at plus 116 with the outright win for Notre Dame. With our guest as the mascots, I expect him to be doing plenty of Irish jigs all night Saturday night. And hopefully we're not seeing any more of the yell leaders because I can't take much more of that. But that's what you guys have to look forward to. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us. Again, it's always fun. We had a ton of games to pick, so it took some time. But week one, it's finally here. We got games all day Saturday, some big games Sunday night, Monday night, even Thursday night. And Friday night, there's a few. So, I mean, we got plenty of games as soon as we get 2 days from now. It'll be a fun weekend and a holiday weekend. So, and then next week, we're back with week 2 and the first week of NFL. So, I mean, we've got a lot of stuff going on here very soon. For anyone that checks out our NFL episodes, we'll drop tonight our NFL playoff predictions and season awards. But that is it. So for Reese Downing, our friends, our Notre Dame faithful, Scott and Carter, I am Jacob Workman. We will see you guys next week. Have a good one, everyone.
Cheers, guys.